Hello, and welcome back to the Ernest Faison Show. I'm your host, Ernest Faison, the host with the most. I'm joined by a gentleman who I've got a lot of respect for. His name is Frederick G. Hunter. Welcome to the program.
Hello, how you doing, sir?
Yeah, affectionately known in the industry of fitness as Hunter.
As Hunter.
Glad to have you on the show. You had a unique story, I felt like, as you and I were talking off camera, that some of the things that you have been doing definitely were something that I think that people should know about. And we were singing a song, started from the bottom, now we're here. You know, you were born in Cleveland. Take us through it.
I was born in Cleveland. My mom, single parent. My father, he was there up until I was 16 around, but he, never really totally established.
Okay.
But my mom's family was respected in the community, but educated family in a community where education wasn't always so valued. So I think that was very important that I had that foundation.
Absolutely.
Education.
Well, you're from Cleveland. Don't they affectionately refer to that as the mistake by the lake? What in the world?
Don't be disrespectful to my city.
LeBron James.
LeBron is from Akron, Ohio.
Okay.
But which is just fine, Akron, Ohio. But Cleveland, Ohio, mistake by the lake, down the way. I was from the worst part of Cleveland that there is in Cleveland.
And I guess you decided, I want more for myself. Decided the education is the key. So from there, did you go in the military?
I went right into the military from Cleveland, Ohio. I guess I was lucky enough to get stationed in California, 1,000 miles away from home, a little more or less.
San Diego?
No, I was first stationed in Port Hueneme. It's a CB base, a construction battalion. Right. People don't know about that, but it's a lot of different.
Know about that.
What's that, sir?
I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, it's a lot of different fractions within the Navy.
Okay.
It's a construction battalion where we would send these people over to different countries and they build for them. See, right. Navy has their own builders themselves.
Okay. Build. Because I do know Coronado Beach, a bunch of my buddies, Navy SEALs.
Navy SEALs are there.
Yeah, they would train out there and everything like that. How did you enjoy California?
I enjoyed California greatly. When I first got there, though, it was rough because of me being stationed at San Diego. When I got transferred to San Diego, which is a couple miles from Coronado Base, there, which is CB's. It was a lot of training, medical training. It was rougher for me at first because I had some learning disabilities. I did have some learning disabilities. I had to read things over 2 and 3 times sometimes. At first, they misdiagnosed it a lot. So dyslexia and all this kind of thing. But basically what it just really came down to, it was like a lack of focus and concentration.
Right.
And then once I had to learn those things, how to do that.
Well, I worked on Pearl Harbor there in Hawaii, and I have nothing against you squids. It's all right.
Squid.
Watching the Ernest Faison Show. I'm Ernest Faison, the host with the most. I'm joined by Hunter. He's explaining some of the things, trials and tribulations that life has thrown at him. He is obviously believes that the glass is half full because he was obviously able to overcome those obstacles. So from the Navy, you decided to do what?
Well, within the Navy still, before I had met a preacher and got me into God, and also being around men, you have to have role models. And in the Navy, before getting out, I had picked up a lot of great role model men. Because me being a family of mostly women, you still need a man figure to emulate. So I have picked some great people to emulate in the Navy. And so once I left the Navy, I went straight into college, which is CCR right here. I was actually what brought me I left San Diego and then came here to Newport, Rhode Island in the officer program. I made the officer program, and that brought me to Newport, and then I started going to college from there.
You know what's good? In this time when we need a lot of role models, I think, especially us as African Americans, we need to make sure that we project a positive image, put on our Sunday go to meeting clothes once in a while, and everything like that. You look good, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, with your Steve Harvey tie on there.
Steve Harvey compilation.
I see.
But what you got on that little Armani looking at?
Well,
what's that over there?
I used to model. I clean up well.
You clean up well.
And both of us being in the fitness industry, I mean, people used to seeing us just in Adidas shorts and and a top.
Nike, I usually would just
That's
Nike,
right.
yeah.
Well, it's a good way to make money. Oh, by the way, and you're helping people. So tell me, how did you get involved in the physical fitness industry?
I got out the Navy, I started college, and I started working at the YMCA. I was working at front desk as I'm going to school part-time, and I met Carol Perry, which is someone in the fitness industry. She's worked with Buns of Steel videos. I don't know, remember those back in
Buns of Steel
videos. She did the Buns of Steel videos, and she was like, "You're in the medical field. What you doing here at the front desk? You should become a trainer. Why don't you become a trainer?" And at the time, I was like, training people. I didn't even know about, talking to people, like, right, whatever. So she got me into fitness training.
Well, that's outstanding. Well, the way I got into it, I used to, as a young youth, look at Jack LaLanne. And I said, wow, look at this man with these Popeye muscles. I told my mom, I said, Mom, I want to be like him when I grow up. And this guy he died when he was like 98 years old. I understand he used to like pull tugboats because he would swim in the ocean there right off of San Francisco to Alcatraz. And the way the story goes, he actually pulled a boat with a harness swimming in that cold water all the way to Alcatraz. So that was my first role model as far as fitness.
Well, when I got into fitness with Carol Perry, as I said, working at the front desk, I was a boxer first.
Oh.
So, we didn't mention that, but I also, in school, I was captain of my wrestling team, and then in the Navy, I picked up boxing.
Okay.
On my way to the Navy. So I picked up boxing, and so when she came to me about being personal training, I almost turned her down because I was a boxer, and being a boxer and a wrestler, we're against weightlifting.
Right, because it kinks you up.
It kinks you.
And speaking about Mr. Frederick G. Hunter, this would be a photo of him doing his thing. What year was that, Hunter?
Well, that was like 2004. That was a while back, dating myself again. That was a while
And I
back.
understand we both have a mutual friend by the name of Mr. Jimmy Birchfield.
Jimmy Birchfield, when I first got into boxing here, I first was trained by Goody Petronelli, which is Marvin Hagler's trainer.
Marvin Hagler.
Marvin Hagler, the great Marvin
The
Hagler.
marvelous one.
Yeah, so I started boxing in Brockton, Mass, but I was stationed in Newport, so that's like a 30-minute, 40-minute drive.
And I'm sure you cross paths with Vinny Paz often.
Vinny Paz, I love Vinny. But well, here we go. So this is how I met Vinny. Newport to Brockton, that's like a 30, 40-minute drive, so I got tired of training there. So actually I got hurt. I had gotten hurt. So I went out of boxing for like a month. When I come back, I wanted to get something closer here. I had called CES Boxing, which is CES Boxing, which is Jimmy Birchfield's productions, and I asked him who would be a great trainer for me here locally. He had asked me my dimensions and stuff, so he said go to Tiny Richie. Tiny Richie, rest in peace, he's deceased now, but he was also one of the trainers for Vinny Paz. He was one of the trainers for Josh Beeman. All these people were in the Olympics from Rhode Island.
Oh.
So I got with Tiny Richie, and of course Vinny Paz was in that gym. Jason Estrada, who was in the 2008 Olympics. Peter Manfredo, all these guys I came up with in the amateurs. I didn't turn pro.
Excellent. You're watching the Ernest Faison Show. I'm your host, Ernest Faison. I'm joined by Hunter, affectionately known locally around here. Hunter's been a boxer. He's actually been an educator. He just recently got his master's degree, but Hunter has one problem. Hunter has told me off camera that he believes that Roy Jones Jr. was the greatest boxer of all time. And I beg to differ with you, my brother, because I float like a butterfly and I sting like a bee. I'm so bad I make medicine sick. Who would that be? That'd be Muhammad Ali. How did you get that twisted?
We both respect Muhammad Ali. Let's start.
Yes,
we have great
Vietnam,
respect.
the whole
seriously,
thing.
the whole thing with Muhammad Ali is inside, outside the ring. That man's right. Inside the ring, Roy Jones Jr. is the greatest boxer ever.
Well,
and if it's not going to be Roy Jones Jr., it's Floyd Mayweather.
Okay.
And that's coming from a boxer.
Right. Well, you know I love you, Hunter, but I think you're a little delusional with it. But don't take it personal. As we continue on, I see that really I respect the fact that you didn't settle. You're from Cleveland, a rough neighborhood. You decided that, you know what, I'm not going to go out like this. I'm gonna better myself. I'm gonna get some education. I'm gonna go into the Navy. I'm gonna travel. I'm gonna broaden my horizons. But one thing that I respect about you, you said that education is the key. And you just told me off camera something which was very, very wonderful that you just received, and that is, wait for it, your master's degree.
My master's in psychology. I'm very proud of that. I didn't think I could do that. I'm not going to. When I first even went to college, I didn't feel like I could do that. I graduated in the bottom 20% of my high school class.
They're trying to say you had a learning disability.
They had a learning disability. If you go to the, because I also was I wasn't always this nice guy. Yeah. I got a lot of trouble. I wasn't ever in any gangs per se, but I was around gang members a lot.
So I appreciate what he's saying. He's saying basically, you know what? You don't have to be a product of your environment. He's trying to say if you get with the proper people, that you can in fact rise to the top. And you didn't settle, and that's why I decided to have you on the program. And I think it's a good story for kids out there who think that there's no way out. This man is living proof. There is a way out. If you want it, and you believe that the glass is half full, then you can achieve. Like that Norman Vincent Peale, you can believe, you can achieve. That book we had to read.
No, that's Think. Yeah.
Remember that one, right?
Yes, Think and Grow. Well, I read Vincent Peale's book. I think it's Think and Grow.
Norman Vincent Peale, that's right.
I love that guy.
Yeah, man. But so from there, like I said, the master's degree, how did you achieve that? And what made you want to go in psychology? Sigmund Freud, the cognitive frame of mind.
What made me go into
D.F. Skinner and all these people, Puget.
Well, most psychologists, when you look into their background, they became a psychologist either from someone in their close relative or friend had a mental issue. Usually it's a close relative person.
Right.
And with me, as I said earlier, it was my mom. My mother suffered from schizophrenia.
Oh.
Yes, she suffered from schizophrenia. She still even goes through it now, medicated, wise for it or whatever. And so that what took me into psychology. They always say some underlining meaning, so that's my underlining meaning. I think I feel, and just to want to help people.
When I was in college, I studied psychology as well because I do think that your state of mind and how you conduct yourself in the world, really your focus. Because I practice Zen meditation myself,
yes,
and it's all about actualization and being there. So I have a kinship to you with that, and I really appreciate you even telling me that. So you said that you had a program that you were really very near and dear to your heart. You wanted to start going into the prisons, and you want to start educating people that there is a second chance, et cetera, et cetera. Why don't you expound on that a little bit?
I wouldn't go into prisons, but I started at schools first, and I also tutor people also, and I love teaching people about vocabulary. Vocabulary is so important.
Absolutely.
The words that you use, not just knowing a big vocabulary, be on Jeopardy or some talk show.
Words are very powerful.
Words are very powerful, but the words that you use every day and just normal exchanges when you always around someone, or you may be around someone who, I'm tired, and you see that person, and every day you hear them say, I'm tired. If you always, whatever words you use and project, those words are going to become you, the words, those phrases. So you have to watch those things. That's why I go teach people different words to use, different phrases.
Which is a perfect segue for me to get into this, because both of our mentors is the gentleman I had on my last show, Mr. Ed Skirka. Mr. Ed Skirka, who always enunciates every single adjective and noun. You got to appreciate him for that.
I met Mr. Skirka maybe 10 years ago. Toastmasters International. I took voice articulation lessons. I've taken different acting. I took that acting course, but it wasn't to be an actor. It was just to learn how to project myself more.
Right.
Because I wasn't so confident at first. And sometimes at Mr. Skirka classes, which Toastmasters, I always recommend people take seminar classes.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to have my daughter do it. I think it's excellent because she has a little stage fright. She's very good at what she does, but I want to disarm her from the fear, because fear can be very paralyzing. Very paralyzing.
Fear can stop you from doing just your everyday normal things.
Yes, it can.
And it stops you from going to different avenues. Fear almost stopped me from coming here.
Right.
No, really. I almost canceled this last
Really?
week. That's the
Oh, now I would have had to go in the fundamental jacket. What is your major
you
malfunction?
gotta ask me. Really ask me. That's true for. And that's
Wow.
what it was.
Really. You start to get some anxiety
I got
going.
even
Though you and I had a rapport off the camera.
That has nothing to do with. People say get over it. Okay, let's backtrack.
This is very important.
Very important here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's backtrack just a little bit. I suffer from depression.
Okay.
Per se, I suffer from depression, but I'm not depressed. You see,
what is the difference between suffering from depression and being depressed? Because there are a lot of people out there. You can help a lot of people based on this next amount of things which is about to come out your mouth.
And that's the foundation of my whole thing right there. To know yourself and to know whom you are and to know the difference between being depressed and you being depressed and are you a depressant. Okay. I'm a depressant because of the levels in my mind, the levels in my brain, which when I say levels, there's different neurons in your brain. And if you have enough of those neurons, you function well. And if you don't have enough of those neurons, you don't function well. Plain and simple. That's
you have a built-in coping mechanism. How are you able to, put that subdued? Is it intestinal fortitude? What is it that allows you to actually get past that? Like you said, you're depression, but you're not depressed.
I think everyone has their own different coping mechanism, but it's important to know that to get help, right?
Reach out.
First help is psychology, someone who you can talk to. It'd be counselor. You don't even have to be a psychologist per se. It can be your pastor. Just someone who you can first talk to.
You got to include God in the equation.
God.
First and foremost. And, I could go with a side note, you know what I mean, just a little barb at you. One could say, well, you were in the boxing game, so, you took it too many licks upside the head, but that wasn't your case. Yours is more embedded.
Yes.
Is that correct?
But I would even say some of the boxing has something to do with it.
Punch drunk?
CETs also, which
you being real with it. I really appreciate it.
I don't know, you have to be real with everything.
I really appreciate it.
CETs, which is big for football now.
Yeah, concussions.
Protocol. Boxers suffer concussions every day. Okay. You're in the ring, you practice every day.
It's true.
You spar. We don't just hit to the body. I mean, sometimes you do, but most of the time, everything is to the head. You head hunt.
That's
right. So we have concussions every day per se for CET. I got out of boxing early enough. I started, and that's what got me out. I won New England gloves. Mm-hmm. I won Budweiser heavyweight belt and things like that nature. But I had started having headaches.
Outstanding.
How
many years did you box?
I boxed for 10 years. I've never been down.
You've never got knocked down?
I've never been knocked down. I've no broken noses, no black eyes. So 10 years. But that's a hard head too.
And down south, my mother was up in Glory. She says the hard head makes us soft. Ladies and gentlemen, fill the blank in with that. And that might be why some of these kids are being so belligerent and everything. Because if you spare the rod, you spoil the child. That's in the Bible. But you have come up roses because obviously it didn't affect you as well. Looked like you were able to get over the hump, And that's a testament to you.
Well, you can never say that. You can never say that. Everyone has a point where you could have went right or left.
True.
Everyone
including myself.
Including yourself.
At about 12 or 13.
12 or 12.
Keeping it real.
Mine was 19. Well, I mean, I have different forks in the road. Okay. I have different forks in the road. Because I have done,
as we all have,
things to survive.
Right.
Okay, let's break it back to the 80s. Let's go back to the 80s. Let's go to the 80s. If you lived in the 80s and 90s, you was a teenager to a 25, mid-20s, so anywhere from 14 to mid-20s between the 80s and the 90s. Most likely you were in a low economic region, neighborhood, whatever. Yep. You have some type of drug selling activity in your past. You know what I'm saying? Most of the rappers back then, that's all they rapped about. No, but some of the rappers, I've known rappers who made raps about my life.
Okay. And that's why I got you on the show, because you didn't settle for that.
No,
you
you
saw
can't
a better
settle.
path. He saw a better path, and he decided, education is the key. And now you've got an excellent testimony for those people out there. And that's why I appreciate you getting ready to go into the prison systems and everything and educate people and even talk to them about depression, etc. Because you have lived it, and you're letting people know that there is a way out, which is a beautiful thing. And you do believe, even though you don't like Muhammad Ali, you do believe that the glass is, in fact, is half full. And the other thing that really, really blew me away that I really loved that you told me about is that you have a 17-year-old daughter.
Yes, my daughter goes
and she goes to Georgia State
University. Yeah.
And she's 17 and she just published a book, ladies.
Self-published.
You're watching the Ernest Faison show. It's all about education. I'm here with Hunter. His daughter's 17 years old and she just published a book. And what is the preface of this book?
That book, it's a murder mystery. It's a high school murder mystery book.
17 years old. To have the wherewithal.
Just the organization, the steadfastness to do it. It's hard to break.
How long did it take her to actually, comprise this book?
I'm a little embarrassed, right? I've been trying to write a book for the last 2 years, and I'm just finishing up.
Okay.
It took my daughter, she told me 6 months, maybe
6 months at 17?
At 17.
Wow. And what is she studying, by the way, at Georgia State?
She just made the Rhode Island Honor Society, and right now at Georgia State, she's taking up nursing. She wants to be an OBGYN nurse.
Outstanding. You got to be a proud papa.
Proud papa. But she listens. She's always read, and I have 2 daughters. Her older sister took another path. She's not in college or whatever, but she's not a reader. She'll tell you she's self-proclaimed. I don't read. And me and my other, so you have to read. You have to do.
In order for you to know where I'm coming from, you got to know where I've been.
Yeah.
Then maybe I'll tell you where I'm going. Hello.
You
can go back to the church. Well,
if the church is not your foundation, it's.
I agree with this man. I mean, some kind of way you have to have some type of spiritual awakening, because the way this world is going and everything. That's why I say the World Cup. I'm a big soccer fan.
Okay.
Look at the world. I mean, look at the situation in the world. And I think that this World Cup probably is bringing people together more so now than it's ever needed to be.
Well, I love that about soccer.
Right.
That it's
because we're fragmented and
everyone. You don't have to be too tall. You don't have to be too big. Everyone can do something.
And we have a certain person in office, I won't mention his name, who rivals in this, but I do think the cooler head will prevail, and we'll keep on keeping on. You know what I mean? Kind of like this show. Your daughter, this really impressed me, though, 17 years old. I know what I was doing when I was 17. Wasn't writing books.
I don't even think I was doing homework.
Yeah. So you think your ministry will be very, very good as far as turning people on to higher education, giving them understanding that depression does not necessarily have to defeat you, but there are ways around it. So you've taken on a whole different mantra versus that snotty-nosed kid who was in Cleveland. Now here you are, doing what you got to do.
A lot of things also is hope. You gotta have hope. You have a hope of an expectation to a plan to do something.
This is true.
Right? So, and I like what you said earlier about, I think you said you meditate.
Oh, I meditate. I do a Zen meditation. I meditate. Tai Chi. I'm into the martial arts.
Well, meditation, I do a lot of self-hypnosis, which is another form of meditation.
Absolutely.
With self-hypnosis, you're just putting something specifically into your meditation. That's the only difference between self-hypnosis and meditation.
That's just like, coming on this show, I had already actualized how I envisioned this to go down, and it all went good until you said that Muhammad Ali wasn't the baddest man.
Hey, Roy Jones Jr.
You see how we lighten it up? Serious, we hit them with seriousness, we lighten it up. But the most important thing, as I told you, is that you get your subject matter out here. And I think that we're doing just that. I mean, we talked about your education. We talked about where you were from. We talked about the boxing, even though that was a little suspect. Talked about your family life. It's the fact that you're dealing with some things, but you will not let it defeat you. And again, I have to keep coining the phrase. You do believe that the glass is half full. And that's a beautiful thing. A lot of people don't have hope, man. And especially, again, all people, but especially African American kids can look up to someone like you who necessarily weren't dealt the best odds, but you didn't let it deter you. You actually, reach higher. You aim high, as the Air Force say, aim high. We're veteran, we can speak that kind of talk.
Well, let's go back.
And it's a testimony for you.
Let's go back to the difference between being depressed and
Okay, go ahead.
Depressed and being depressed and then not being depressed, right? Everyone see me at first as a happy person, right? It's some days where I'm still a happy person, but inside I may not be happy per se.
Okay.
And so those days I'm not gonna show up. Like when I said I didn't want to come here.
Right.
I didn't want to come from my anxiety, just the fear or afraid of not what's gonna happen once I got here. But I knew I was gonna be okay. I know you. I know my stuff. Right. We got my masters, but it's still something inside of you.
It's chemical.
It's chemical back.
It's chemical.
It's chemical.
There you go.
So people say, get over it. Just get over it.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
There's nothing to get over. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? There's no physical thing that I can move, that I can fix. Anyone who has those chemical imbalance, there's nothing that you can go fix physically.
Yes.
Right? So that's when you do need like different medications and you need the psychiatrist per se. So that's the only thing I want to get out there. That sometimes it's not, because here my talks are about rising from the bottom to the top, right? Or from going from one level of life to a higher level. That's the real basis. But sometimes you need some help to get.
Oh, absolutely.
Get to that
I would not have my own TV show, even though I did it 10 years ago. If Mr. Ed Skirker was not in that locker room, who is this booming voice that we're hearing? One thing led to another.
And he didn't even know that you had done this before.
That's exactly right. And so like my vocal muscle memory kind of kicked back in, if you will, kind of a pun play on words. You're watching Ernest Faison Show. I'm your host, Ernest Faison, the host with the most, talking to my brother, Mr. Hunter. He's educating us and giving people hope to let you know that you might be depressed, but depression does not have to take control over you. And the fact that Cleveland, Ohio, the mistake by the lake, you can even rise above that.
You can even rise above the mistake on the lake.
And things are good. So I really appreciate you coming on. I suspect that in the future we will have to do it again.
Be more focused. We'll be more focused.
Yeah, playing that mental ping pong is a good thing, because we had a lot of things we want to do and we were able to get them across. So I would just like to thank everybody under the sound of my voice who were able to catch some of these very poignant points that my good friend Mr. Hunter has brought about. We will be doing a podcast, and I will have a website, so I would like to get your opinion on what you think about what I'm doing. Take care of yourself. I'll try to do better next time. God bless.